guys doing out there today? This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy, aka DFS Dudes, and we're here to present you our NBA morning shoot around for Friday, December 21st. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all my NBA, NFL, and MLB videos. If you haven't came and checked out our website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily Fanduel and Draftkings cash lineups. Hey, we're truly a one-stop shop for all your DFS needs. So make sure and check out the site, dfscheatsheet.com. So, hey, how you doing out there, Jeremy?
Yo, what's up, man? Feels good to be back. We haven't done this in a while. We've had some stuff going on, but
busy right now, man.
Looks like everything's back, man. We'll try and keep popping these things out. I would say if you guys watching, comment and let us know if you like these better in the AM or if you like them better in the PM, and let us know your feedback. We'll try and keep popping them out at nighttime unless you guys feel like you want them in the morning going forward. But, you know, the holidays and all that. Merry Christmas to everybody. Got that coming up.
Yeah, definitely. If you don't mind, real quick, drop that promo that we got where they get $20 off the first month. Drop that in the comment section. Let them know what's up.
Yeah, so sign up 20, take $20 off your first month on the site. And I mean, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, this deal right now, take advantage of it while we got it, because we're popping up new tools every single day. We're about to launch a new DVP tool. You can see it's not quite ready to go yet, but it's going to be full of valuable information to help you build lineups out of. We are starting lineups page, you know, the whole 9 yards. So everything you need to build successful and competitive lineups every single night to make money with, we've got on our site, including content, articles, etc. Use the code SIGNUP20, SIGNUP20 at checkout and take $20 off your first month. Get that VIP membership, $59.99 regular price. Get it for $39. You get full access to the site, and you get our cash game lineups Monday through Saturday for the NBA and Sunday's main slate for NFL. So sign up 20, take advantage of that offer right now, man. Do it. Do yourself a favor. You will make that back very, very quickly. Best $39 you can invest in daily fantasy.
Yeah, man. So I'm ready just to jump in the slate and get it going. We got a big slate, 10-game slate. So let's just jump right into it, bro. Real quick, if you guys don't mind, before we jump into the slate, if you guys don't mind, please take a quick second for me. Click the like button down below on this video. That helps me out a lot. I really, really appreciate that from you guys. And yeah, so we're going to jump into it. First game we're going to start with is going to be the Detroit Pistons going into Charlotte to face the Hornets. This game has the 219.5 over under, and Charlotte favored by 4.5 in this one.
Yeah, man. So look, Detroit, I say it every time we have Detroit. There's only a couple of guys that I really want to go ahead and target. You know, Reggie Jackson at 5,500. I don't mind him in tournaments on a 10-game slate, especially going against a Charlotte team that's a little more lax defensively. Charlotte games tend to be a little bit higher scoring, so there's opportunity here. But for me, I'm going to keep it really, really simple, and I'm going to take a look at Andre Drummond and Blake Griffin. Charlotte doesn't really have big guys, you know, especially at the center position. Marvin Williams is their power forward. Center position, they roll out Zeller. Both guys are kind of hybrid players for me. They're kind of stretch 4 and a stretch 5, to be honest with you. So I think, you know, if Drummond does play here, this is an absolute crush spot for him. And Blake Griffin at 9.3 on a 10-game slate, I think he has the opportunity to give you a 50 burger tonight as well. So those are the guys I'm going to target. If you want to look at Reggie Jackson in tournaments, fine, go ahead. Outside of that, that's where I'm going to keep it. There's a 10-game slate. There's plenty of other spots to look.
Yeah, man. I mean, on the Detroit side, on the Charlotte side of things, I'm really just going to look at two guys. First thing first, whenever Kemba's at home, we always talk about how Kemba plays much better at home. And then he just went against Detroit 4 games ago, and he absolutely crushed them. Played 37 minutes, scored 31 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists for 57 fantasy points. I mean, the guy had a monster day, and that was away. Now he's at home. I like Kemba in this spot. Definitely GPP play for me because the price tag is up there, but I definitely think you want to consider him on this slate. And then you got Jeremy Lamb. I mean, his price tag has came up a little bit as well, but I mean, his production is crazy. He's always been a guy that whenever he got the minutes, he produced well. It's all about minutes with this guy. He's having a really, really good season. We need 35 for value. That's the only thing I don't like. I feel like the price tag is up, but he could definitely get us 35. The guy's playing well. He's played a ton of minutes. Last game against Detroit, he played 35 minutes. He didn't have the best game. He didn't get the secondary stats. Only got us 20 fantasy points. I mean, yeah, but hey, the minutes were there. Definitely think that he can have a bounce back game at home. And that's really it for me, man. I'm not really interested in anybody else on the Charlotte side of things outside of Kemba Walker and Jeremy Lamb as GPP plays.
Yeah, I feel it.
Next game we're going to go with is going to be Cleveland Cavaliers going into Toronto to face the Raptors. This game has a 210 over-under, and Toronto is favored by 12.5 in this one.
Again, we're looking at Cleveland, and we're looking at even a more diminished roster if Dellavedova can't play today. Now you're looking at really just Colin Sexton and Alec Burks. So pay attention to injury news on that. I think both of them are relevant if Dellavedova doesn't go. But Jordan Clarkson is probably the two spots to look for Cleveland that are obvious. Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance. Larry Nance has played extremely well since entering the starting lineup in the last two games with 49.2 and 44.5 fantasy points respectively. So he's probably the top target here at the 7.3 price tag. The last two games he's shown you he can get a 6x figure on the 7.3 price tag. Probably very fairly priced, to be honest with you. Is probably what I would call a par price. So Nance, I'm going to look for him, and then Jordan Clarkson if Dellavedova doesn't go. The point guard position is a revolving door, to be honest with you. They've got four guys that are kind of playing that. It's a team full of perimeter players. You don't know who's going to get minutes. Really, the only three guys you can guarantee minutes for are Burke, actually four guys, Burke, Dellavedova, Sexton, and Jordan Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson is a premier scorer there out of that group of guys. So one guy, if you want to take a deep dive on, he can score the basketball with anybody in the league on any given night if he's going to take the shots, and that's Rodney Hood at 4.1. I don't mind him as a pump play on this slate. I don't. But this is Toronto, extremely tough defensively, this year. So to me, I'm going to keep it really. If I'm going to target anybody in this game, it's probably just going to be Clarkson, and that's really only if Dellavedova's out, and Larry Nance. And I don't like the matchup. I'll have to say that also. I don't like the matchup against Toronto.
Yeah, man. And then, I mean, on the Toronto side of things, I mean, we got some injuries. We know Kyle Lowry's out. We got Serge Ibaka's questionable. I'm going to just kind of attack this Toronto team as Serge Ibaka is going to sit out again until I get further notice that he's probable or whatnot. His right knee was inflamed, couldn't play last game. I think that against a Cleveland team, they're gonna win either way. So I think this could be a spot where they'll give Serge Ibaka another day of rest. I mean, they're gonna need this guy, later down the road, big time. So there's no point in really pushing him right now, especially against a team that they should beat, even without him. So I mean, you start with Van Fleet. He didn't have the best game. Last game with starting for Lowry, but he didn't do bad. 23 fantasy points on a 5,000 price tag is not going to kill you. And he has 35, 40 fantasy point upside. So I like Van Fleet in this spot. I think he's going to get the nod, 5.3. I'm probably going to have him in my cash lineup. I'm just going to be completely honest. I think the guy's a really good play on this slate. Then we got Dylan Wright. Dylan Wright, I mean, he didn't get the same minutes he got 2 games ago because Van Fleet is back, but he still got 21 minutes at almost a minimum price tag. Now we can throw in the factor that we may think this game may turn into a blowout, and he could get even a couple extra minutes on this. If he's going to play 25, 26 minutes at 3.9 price tag, I mean, we only need 19 for value. I definitely think that he's in a great spot. I definitely think that you could consider Dylan Wright as your pump play on this slate. Then we got Kawhi Leonard. I mean, no Kyle Lowry. His usage is going to be crazy through the roof. 10.4, the price tag is starting to really get right. But, hey, the guy's been paid off. All these price tags have been getting very close. Last game without Lowry, he went off for 55 fantasy points against Indiana. 28, 10, 6, and 4 steals. I like him in this spot. The problem is he's more of a GPP play for me. I don't know if he's a guy I want to pay up for because, the risk of this game turning into a big-time blowout. Then we got Siakam, especially if Ibaka's out. I love him once again. Played him last game. He didn't disappoint, man. Played 34 minutes, got a 17-7, 4-1, 3 for 37 fantasy points. On this price tag, we need about 34 for value. This guy gives us 40 fantasy point upside. They got Larry Nance playing the center for Cleveland. They don't have really too many big guys at all. So I think the big guys for Toronto are probably going to be my favorite play. So I really like Siakam. If Ibaka is ruled out, 4,300 is still dirt cheap for Greg Monroe. I think we played 21 minutes against Indiana, 13-8. I obviously would love for him to play close to at least 25, 26 minutes. We can possibly see it. But I think that if he's going to start, he's going to be locked into at least 20 minutes minimum. And he's a really, really good points per dollar play. So I definitely think he could get us there, even on limited minutes. And if they decide to roll him out for, 25 to 28 minutes in this game, he can absolutely crush this spot. He has 40 fantasy point upside. So that's really where I'm at for me. I love Van Fleet a lot. Definitely think you can look at Wright as a punt play. Later strictly GPP just because the price tag's up. But hey, he's still in play. You gotta like Siakam and look at Monroe, and I'm ready to move on.
Jaron Blossomgame, that's another guy that I mentioned on the Cleveland side. 3.7. The guy got a lot of minutes. I think he had 24 fantasy points in their last game. So he's another guy. If Dellavedova doesn't go, they're short. Blossomgame's a definite pump play, drop spot play with upside in tournaments tonight as well, and then we can move on.
Right. Cool. So next game we're going to go to is going to be Atlanta Hawks going into New York to face the Knicks. This game has a 233 over-under, and New York is favored by 3 in this one.
So I think you can take a look at really 3 guys right off the bat, and then that are probably safe in both formats in this one because of the type of game it's going to be, and that's Trae Young, John Collins, and Bazemore. If you want to get beyond that, you could probably take a look at Dedmon, who has played pretty decent. But 6.6 for Dedmon, I'm not quite sure he's got more upside than like 5.5 or 6x in this spot going against Enes Kanter. So that gives me a little bit of pause. I would much rather pay 6.7 for tournament upside for Kanter in this matchup than I would Dedmon. So for me, I'm looking at 3 guys. You can take a look at Bembre if you want at 4.1 as a dart play, but it's 3 guys. It's Trae Young, it's Kim Bazemore, and it's John Collins. So I'll keep it real simple on the Atlanta side. That's the 3 guys for me that I'll have in my player pool most likely today. I think all 3 guys are relatively safe in all formats tonight. For cash, some of these, Bazemore's probably a secondary play. Collins may be an elite cash game play as well. But Trae Young and Bazemore are probably more secondary options for cash, but definitely safe for tournaments.
Yeah, man, and then all the Atlanta side of things, I pretty much just like 3 guys as well. First thing first, you got Emmanuel Mudiay. You got Trey Burke back, but Moutier is still getting his. The guy's been playing very well. He's hit at least 30 minutes in 5 straight games. The guy fills up the stat sheet. He has upside. We've played him a couple times this season, and he's absolutely went off for us. I like Mudiay in this spot going against Trae Young. I think this is a spot that he could absolutely crush it. The price tag is up a little bit compared to what it was a week ago, but 6.4 is still fair. You need 32 for value, and he's got you at least 32 in 3 of the past 5 games, with a 46 and a 50 fantasy point game. So he's showing us that upside, like Mudiay in this spot. Then you go to Vonleh. Vonleh's a guy who's been getting his consistent minutes as well. 3 of the past 4 games, he's got you at least 31 minutes and at least 28 fantasy points. The price tag, 6.1. We need about 30, 31 for value. Definitely think he can get there. It's all about minutes with this guy. If he's going to play a ton of minutes, he's going to fill up the stat sheet. We know that the Knicks are all over the place with minutes, but right now, Vonleh's getting the minutes. Moutier's getting the minutes. And it brings me to my last guy, Kanter. For the most part, he's getting decent minutes as well. It's outside of this Charlotte game where you only play 23 minutes. He's got you at least 27 for the past 5, with 2 of those games in the 32 fantasy point round, in the 32 minutes or more realm. Definitely think that Kanter maybe is a little bit more GPP just because of the fact that the minutes are up and down a little bit. And you talked about it with Atlanta. They got Dedmon, they got Alex Lynn, a couple solid centers. So it's not the absolute best matchup for Cantor, but we know this guy's a fantasy monster. So I definitely think you could consider him as well. So for the Knicks, I'm really just honestly looking at Moutier. You can look at Von Lay. You can throw in a little Cantor, and that's really it for me.
Yeah, move it on.
Cool. Next game we're going to go to is going to be the Indiana Pacers going into Brooklyn to face the Nets. This game has a 210.5 over under, and Indiana is favored by 2.5 in this one.
So you got to start right here with the number one rule. Both of us have done this all year. We've streamlined centers against Brooklyn. So you have to take a look at Miles Turner, who coincidentally has been playing at a pretty high level recently. Miles Turner's played, 38, 34, 34, the 16 against Philadelphia. But before that, you look 31, 50.9, 42.4. This is a crush spot for Miles Turner. He's definitely a viable tournament play at 7.3 on a 10-game slate. Power forward, Thaddeus Young, he's been playing decent as well. His price got all the way up to the mid-sixes. It's come down some. Sabonis was almost an $8,000 player. He's now 6.5. This is a game that Vegas has as close. You can see, as you noted, it's a 2.5-point spread here. The over and under at 210.5. So, there's going to be points scored. There's going to be – that's the thing with Brooklyn, man. Brooklyn, you can target Brooklyn anytime they're on the slate and the team's playing Brooklyn, because there's going to be a lot of shots. There's going to be a lot of rebounds. There's going to be a lot of action up and down the floor. It'll be at a faster pace. So I think Sabonis is in play here as well. I'm not really looking at Evans, but Bogdanovich at 5,000, his price kind of just stays where it's at. This is a Bogdanovich-type game right here. This is a game you want to target Bogdanovich. I will have exposure to Bogdanovich at 5,000, small forward number 2. And then the point guard position, I really don't want to mess with this. I've been saying it all year. They're back healthy. I don't want to mess with the point guard position. I think with Oladipo, he's the premier target. 8.3 is too cheap for this guy. It just is. The guy's going to go off. It's like we've been saying about Draymond. Draymond's too cheap. Draymond's going to go off. Keep plugging him in your lineup and take advantage of the buy low opportunity. It's going to pay off. Oladipo at 8.3, too cheap, especially in this game. Premier play, in my opinion, on this slate at 8.3 at the shooting guard spot. So that's kind of where I'm at with the Pacers on this slate, and I'll let you talk about Brooklyn.
Yeah, man. On the Brooklyn side of things, I like 3 guys. Spencer Dinwiddie, the guy's has been playing out of his mind. A lot of people don't play him because he comes off the bench, but he still gets his consistent run. He's hit the 31-minute mark in 3 of the past 4 games. And the guy, he's playing very, very well right now. They're depending on him to score the ball, fill up the stat sheet. He does a little bit of everything. The downside on him is the price tag has crept up now. Now it's 7.1. You need 35 just for value. And that's the thing that's really scared me. He could definitely get us there. That's not the problem. It's just, do I really like the upside on this price tag for him to get me 6 or 7x? That's the only thing that's really worried me about him. But he's definitely in play. But hey, Dinwiddie's more expensive than D'Angelo Russell. That's what's crazy to me. I'd much rather play D'Angelo Russell. I understand he's been a little bit more volatile, but in my opinion, hey, D'Angelo Russell definitely has more upside. The guy's dropping dimes right now. There was a game not too long ago he shot 30 shots. They're really dependent on this guy, and his price actually dropped a couple hundred due to the last game against Chicago, where he kind of laid a little bit of a dud, but the minutes were there, and that's the most positive thing. So I like Russell a lot in this spot. I definitely think that Russell and Dinwiddie are probably the best 2 plays on the Brooklyn side of things. And then I quickly want to throw in Rondé Hall-Jefferson. This guy's just too cheap. 5.4. He's back in the starting lineup. His minutes are kind of all over the place, and that's what's really kind of bothering me a little bit. But at the same time, in the past 6 games, he's played 31 minutes or more, 3 of the past 6. He has a 27-minute game against Chicago. It's all about minutes with this guy. And if he's going to get me close to 30 minutes in this game, 5.4 price tag, he's too cheap. So I definitely think you can look at him as a GPP as well. So, that's really it for me on the Brooklyn side of things. It's really just Dinwiddie. You can look at Russell, possibly Hall-Jefferson as a GPP play, and that's it. I'm ready to move on.
Push it.
Cool. Next game we're going with is going to be the Milwaukee Bucks going into Boston to face the Celtics. This game has a 224.5 over under, and Boston's favored by 1 in this one.
Hey, bro, real quick, you know, every time we go on these videos, we always talk about we're launching new tools and all of this cool stuff we're constantly putting up on the site, right?
Right.
So I'm going to take the opportunity right now to kind of show you guys one of those tools. So Milwaukee side of things, it all starts with Giannis, right? So one thing we always do, we pop open their player card and we take a look and see what their recent performance has been. But we've got a cool little feature that's in the player cards now, which is you could take a look at. Let me just refresh the page real quick. We got an update going on in the freaking right on the optimizer. The second that I want to show it, we got an update going through right now. We're integrating RotoWire News, but one thing you can do is you can go in the optimizer and you can take a look at all players' recent history against that team. So Giannis has averaged about 50 fantasy points or more the last 4 times he's played against Boston. He gets up to play Boston. It's a guy I definitely want to take a look at tonight. You know, check and see what's going to happen from an injury standpoint. You know, we know that Brogdon has missed some time as well. They've announced he's really close to lock as of late. Tony Snell was a monster play in tournaments 2 nights ago. So Tony Snell would definitely become play if for some reason Middleton or Brogdon don't go. But if Middleton plays tonight at 7,000, I love Middleton as well. You know, so Giannis and Middleton is really where it's at for me. I don't really want any part of anything else that has to do with this. I think if this game's going to stay close, Boston's struggling right now. They've lost 2 straight. They just lost to Phoenix. Phoenix gets up and down the floor. You know, it's a young team, the addition of Oubre, etc. Giannis is a guy that has to dominate this spot if Milwaukee's going to stay in this game with Boston tonight. If they can't knock shots down, and that brings up Chris Middleton, I think Boston defensively is more and across the board is probably more athletic than Milwaukee is. So the 2 guys I'm really interested in is Giannis and Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton will have to do what he does. He's their best pure shooter. He will have to knock shots down tonight. Brogdon is elusive. The guy does contribute in different ways. I just don't like Brogdon's price right now at 5,500. I like this guy a lot better. And maybe I'm just being a tightwad about it, but I like Brogdon when he's like 5,000, 4,800, 4,900. I don't like paying 5,500 plus for him just because 25 is really what he's going to give you. And this is not a spot where he could crush and get you that go above 6 or 7x. I just don't think that Boston's too good defensively.
Yeah, man. And then on the Boston side of things, sorry, I had to switch over to Fanduel real quick just because Jeremy just said they actually just pushed the update on the.
We're good.
Yeah. Oh, they did. Okay. Well, for this one, I'll go back afterwards. So on the Boston side of things, on the Boston side of things, I think it starts with Kyrie Irving. I know that their team's struggling, but he's been playing very well. He's just not really getting the help that we need. He's got you at least 45 fantasy points in 4 straight games, giving you a really good score, really good floor, shooting the ball well, rebounding, dropping dimes. Like Kyrie's playing well while everybody else isn't. I think Kyrie's the first guy that you really look at. In this game, going to be a very competitive game against Milwaukee. Both of these teams are 2 of the better teams in the East. So I like this game a lot. I think that Kyrie is definitely in play. You got Marcus Smart. He's entered back in the starting lineup, and he's getting his minutes. And Marcus Smart's a guy we know definitely fills up the stat sheet. The guy's still too cheap. 5.4 for a guy who's got you 33 fantasy points in 3 of the past 4 games. He's giving you a solid floor, has upside. And then if Marcus Morris is out and Jaylen Brown is going to start again, then I think that bodes well for Marcus Smart because Marcus Smart took Jaylen Brown's starting spot, and Jaylen Brown was the one a little bit eating in to Marcus Smart's minutes. But when Marcus Morris was out last game, he's questionable, game time decision with the knee. Last game when Marcus Morris was out, Jaylen Brown started in Marcus Morris's spot, and that kind of freed up those extra minutes that he usually has been taken away from Smart. So I really like Smart in this spot. I think he's a great play. Gordon Hayward, 6,000. It's just too cheap for Gordon Hayward. It's all about minutes with him. When he gets minutes, he tends to produce. We know Gordon Hayward has upside. this is going to be a competitive game. I think, Boston's struggling a little bit. I think this is a game that they're all going to get up for. They're going to play very, very well. And I think that tonight they're possibly going to break out of this, losing slump and get Milwaukee at home. So I like, I like Hayward. I like Smart. I like Irving. You can look at Tatum as well. He's playing a lot of minutes right now. And he's producing. It's crazy because I'm looking at all these guys' stats, and they're all producing pretty well, but the team isn't winning. It's what's crazy about it. And then, you got Al Horford out. You got Baines out. The guy that's probably going to benefit most and probably going to be a chalk play day is going to be Theis. I mean, the guy, there was a game earlier in the year where he had to play 32 minutes, and he crushed for 56 fantasy points. So he's showing us.
Hey, bro, you think Daniel Theis is a beneficiary, or you think Williams is? They're playing this young kid Williams a lot.
Yeah, man, I honestly think it's a coin flip because Tyson's getting his as well. I know who you're talking about. You're talking about Williams right here. But, I mean, as far as fantasy-wise, I mean, he's got us 2 games that were good. I think it's a coin flip, honestly. I honestly do. I think if Tyson's going to start at 4,000, then I think that he's a really good pump play if he's going to play close to 25 minutes. We always talk about it. We like big guys against Milwaukee. Brook Lopez isn't a guy that scares us down low at center. So I think both of those guys are definitely in play for sure. So, I mean, you can look at both of those guys, the big guys, and then the 2 other main guys that I'm liking is Irving and Smart. The other guys are just secondary plays for me.
Yeah, so really quick, we pushed the update, so it was couldn't have been worse timing when I tried to show this to you guys. So basically, here's what you do. You click on a player, you pop their player card open like we always do. You go to their game log, and then you click versus Boston. That's who they're playing today. And here's what he's done recently against Boston. You can see 51.2, 52.8, 55.5, and 58.1. So you're really looking at a guy in Giannis tonight at 11-7 who you need upwards of almost 70 fantasy points to reach tournament value. Okay, so that's an upside play, but you're looking at his recent performance. There's 4 games and 1 this year back in November, and you could pretty much say, I'm going to take Giannis tonight, load my lineups, where his floor tonight is probably 50 fantasy points. And we know Giannis has the upside to give you 75. So this is a very cool tool. Make sure that you use this if you're using the optimizer. You can go in, guys you think you might be on. You can check and see what they've done against this team in their past. This is a tool I use every single day when I'm building my personal player pool. I want to see what guys have done recently and in their career against a certain team. So this is a new feature on the site. I want to make sure I show that to you guys.
Yeah, man. So let me move on. Next game we're going to go to, it's going to be the Orlando Magic going into Chicago to face the Bulls. This game has a 203.5 over-under, and Orlando's favored by 3.5 in this one.
Jonathan Simmons just ruled out. Vucevic looks like he's playing today, was ruled out previously in his previous game. So Mo Bamba not in the chalk spot he was in the night before. You got to love Vucevic in this spot at 9,000. I absolutely love him in this spot at 9,000 going against Chicago, another team we've streamlined centers against all year long. They don't have a true center. They roll out, Wendell Carter as their center, especially with Markkanen back playing the power forward. So, I think this is a monster spot for Aaron Gordon at 7.1. I feel like Aaron Gordon is in the Draymond Green spot, right? Just too cheap. This is a guy who at 8,000 we don't mind paying for, but when he starts getting like 8,500, like he has been in the past, it's a guy that I know you have said, I just don't want to pay 8.5 for Gordon. 7.1 for Gordon is a very fair price. You figure for tournament value, you need 42. For cash value, you need 35. Going against the Bulls, not a great rebounding team. So, I like him there. With Simmons out, you could take a look at 2 other guys, and that's Terrence Ross. And you could take a look at Jonathan Isaac. DJ Augustine will probably also benefit from some additional run here as well. But to me, this is a big guy. I'm looking at the big guys. That's where I want to attack. I think this is a monster game possibility for Vucevic and Aaron Gordon, especially at a 7.1 price tag on Aaron Gordon. I don't know how you feel about that, but 7-1 to me seems more than fair.
Yeah, I'm not a guy that plays Aaron Gordon, but this is a really good spot for him. I mean, that's one thing I will say. This is a very good spot for him. If he's going to have a monster game, I definitely think it can be against the Bulls right here. So on the Bulls side of things, I mean, we know Zach LaVine's out. There's a couple guys I like. Chris Dunn, his price tag is really up there, 7,500. But his usage is through the absolute roof right now. He's got you 39 fantasy points in 2 of the past 3 games. The minutes are up. He's playing a ton of minutes, scoring the ball. He's the guy that fills up the stat sheet. I'm not going to say he's a Westbrook. Definitely not that. But he's one of those guys who fills up the stat sheet like that. Like when he gets going, he does a little bit of everything. He plays really good defense as well. And like I said, no Levine, the usage is through the roof. Definitely like Chris Dunn. He's a solid player on this slate. Then he got Justin Holiday. This guy, I never, ever, ever get excited about this guy, Justin Holiday. But one thing that really does excite me about him is the fact that he plays so many minutes. He plays 34 minutes in 4 of the past 5 games. 2 of those games he played 38 and 41 minutes. Like he pretty much isn't coming off the floor. And we know that minutes equal fantasy production. So I like him. And then, the tool that Jeremy just showed us right now. We've played the Bulls have played Orlando 3 times this season. He's got you 31 fantasy points, 21 and 26. So I think that averages out to about
two of those are last year, bro. 2 of those they played on the 13th of December. The other 2 are from last year, 17.
Oh yeah, I didn't even see that. Okay. So yeah, so this year 1 game, 31 fantasy points. I get you. So it goes back 2 years. I got you.
Right.
Yeah. So I like Dunn. I think Holiday's a guy you can look if he's gonna get the minutes. And then you got marketing. He had a bust game last game, but before last game, I mean, he's been playing very well. The thing about him is he's gonna be so hit or miss because he's a 3-point shooter. For a big guy, he really reminds me of like a Dirk Nowitzki, is what this guy really reminds me of. I mean, he's going to get you, close to 10 rebounds a game, but he really relies on 3-point. He's a really good 3-point shooter. When he's knocking him down, he usually has monster games. The guy does play some solid defense, though. That's what I will admit. Give him some extra stats in that area. I personally don't like the price on him at 7.5. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. For me, strictly a GPP, but I definitely think he's in play. But that's it. And I'm not really too excited about Chicago. It's done. You can look at Holiday a little bit, and you could look at marketing. This guy, I don't know how you say it. It's Ryan Arciato or however you say his name.
I figured it out, bro. It's Arch Decano.
Okay.
RC Decano.
This guy's actually the backup point guard, but they started him at the shooting guard spot last game.
Diacono, there it is. Arch Diacono. I got it.
With Levine out, they started him. If this guy's going to start, he's going to get some solid run at a 3.9. I definitely think you could consider him as a GPP pump play as well. Throw him in a couple lineups, but that's it for me on the Chicago side of things.
What a freaking name, bro! Arch Diacono.
Right. So next game we're going to go with is going to be the Minnesota Timberwolves going into San Antonio to face the Spurs. This game has a 221.5 over under, and San Antonio is favored by 4 in this one.
Hey, that name was pissing me off because I kept getting the Bulls and I couldn't say his name. I YouTube didn't watch the interview with him so I could see how to pronounce his name. Anyway,
and real quick before we move on to this game, one thing I do just quickly mention: so Marcus Morris was just
ruled out.
So now we got to look at it as Marcus Morris is ruled out. You got Baines ruled out, and you got Horford ruled out. So I definitely think you could look at the guy Williams, and you could look at Theis. I think there's enough minutes to go around right there.
Absolutely. And one thing I'll note, dude, I like to watch Boston. I just do. I don't know why I like to. I think it's because I'm such a Laker fan. I want to see Boston lose. But Williams has been in the game at the end of the game the last few times and I know against Phoenix, Baines got hurt and they just had Theis, but they've trusted him down the stretch even before that. He's been in there like the last few games. He's been in there down the stretch, so that bodes well even more now with them being even shorter with Horford, Morris, and Baines out. It's pretty much the same situation as it was in their last game against Phoenix when Baines got hurt. They didn't have Morris or Horford. They had Williams, and he was in the game going against Ayton down the stretch to close the game out. So I look for big minutes out of Williams tonight.
Yeah, I just want to quickly throw there too is if Jaylen Brown's going to start at the power forward, I actually think that they could do that and match up against Milwaukee that way and play a little bit smaller. If he's going to start at that power forward, but I definitely think that Jaylen Brown is in play as well. Just want to throw that in there. As news comes in, we got to kind of adjust our thought process. So next game we're going to go to, it's going to be Minnesota Timberwolves going into San Antonio to face the Spurs. This game has a 221.5 over under, and San Antonio is favored by 4 in this one.
So interestingly enough, let's talk about Towns at 9.3. This is not a guy that, you think, oh, it's San Antonio. I don't want to target this guy. But you can see 52.2. He had a monster game against them last year. And then this year he had a mediocre run-of-the-mill 38.7. So, you think, oh, I don't want to target this guy at 9.3. To me, this is a spot where they just don't have a big guy in San Antonio. You're talking about they got Pirtle, they got Aldridge. I get it. I think that both of there's a mismatch on both sides in this game. I think Aldridge is a mismatch for Towns, and Towns is a mismatch for Aldridge. And I think both guys could benefit. You could pop open Aldridge and take a look at what he's done against Minnesota and talk about that. But I think this is a really good pivot contrarian center spot at 9.3 for Towns. Minnesota's starting to, the thing about Minnesota is this. They're starting to play better, and they're starting to play through Towns, and they're starting to get a little bit of the dribble drive kick out, Towns passing out of double teams, and a guy like Covington taking advantage and knocking shots down. So they're starting to play better basketball than they did at the beginning of the season. And Towns is kind of the cog in the wheel for them. So I like Towns. I think it's a good contrarian spot to play him in. Outside of that, Robert Covington's playing, we know Tom Thibodeau plays his guys a lot of minutes. There was a lot of controversy around Covington had missed a couple of games. He came back in the Sacramento game. They were up by like 30-something points. Covington had already played 30 minutes, and Tibbs put him back in the game, like, for what reason, right? And there's some controversy around that. So we know he's going to play these guys. 6.2, Rudy Gay is not a scary matchup by any means. So, I like that there as well. And then, you have to take a look and see what's going to happen here at the point guard position. Jeff Teague ruled out already, so you have to absolutely love Derrick Rose. Problem for me is 7.3 in a pace down game. I think we're really relying on him getting some assists to really meet value here. You need 36.5 to reach cash value at 5X. You need closer to 42, 43, 44 for tournament value. I just don't know if this is the matchup that you want to go get a bunch of Derrick Rose exposure. Pace down game against San Antonio. And San Antonio is playing better defense. They're playing defense closer to what they played to start the year at. So, for me, tournament play, you want to play Rose, fine. I think that I'm probably gonna miss Rose. I'll have a limited exposure to him, especially with a guy like Van Vliet out there.
Yeah, no, I love Van Fleet today, bro. I mean, you're right for sure. But one thing I do want to say is I could definitely see going Derrick Rose and Van Fleet at the point guard spot and moving on. Derrick Rose's usage is going to be through the roof. I mean, he could pay off on these prices. He's been doing it over and over. He gives us a solid floor. I just want to mention I really do like Derrick Rose a lot today. Definitely think I'm going to go back to the well personally. So on the San Antonio side of things, I mean, you look at 3 guys, and that's it. I'm not going beyond that. DeMar DeRozan, 8,300. He's been picking up this year. The thing I like about DeRozan is he's not necessarily so reliant on scoring this year. He's getting rebounds. He's getting assists. He's averaging almost 5 rebounds a game, 6 assists a game, 6 assists a game, almost 23 actual scoring points, giving us a 38 fantasy point. Floor is kind of what we're looking at. Against Minnesota this year, he's played them 2 times already. He hasn't had, a monster game. He had a 36 fantasy point game and 18 fantasy point last game against Minnesota. I just don't like the price tag on DeMar DeRozan, to be honest, but I definitely think he does have some upside. So you got to consider him. Rudy Gay is a guy I like, man. It's all about minutes with this guy. If he's going to get the minutes, he's going to play well. But one thing I will say is I think he is giving us a solid floor, in this spot, and he has upside. 6.5, we need about 32 for value. He's averaging almost 30 fantasy points on the season. Definitely think that Rudy Gay is a solid player on their slate. He only played in one of the games against Minnesota this year, and he only played 18 minutes. But in those 18 minutes, okay, he didn't get the scoring points. But, hey, bro, he got assists, 2 blocks, and a steal. So he was actually having a good game outside of not scoring the ball. Still got us 20 fantasy points in 18 minutes. If he scores the ball and gets his regular close to 15 scoring points a game, he absolutely has a great game right here. So I like Rudy Gay in this spot, and then you mentioned him, LaMarcus Aldridge, 8,000. We need 40 for value. Cat is a guy that we're not worried about. Cat on the defensive end. He's not the best defender. I mean, he's not horrible, but he's not the best. LaMarcus Aldridge. I mean, this team runs through the 3 guys I talked about: DeMar DeRozan, Rudy Gay, and Aldridge. They need these guys to play well in order for the team to play well. So, Aldridge, 2 games they played this year against Minnesota. He had 1 monster game, 21 points, 19 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 blocks, 1 steal for 53 fantasy points. And then he had a game where he dead it out. 24 minutes, he only scored you 22 points. If he's going to score you 53 fantasy points on this price tag, he's absolutely crushing value. But if he's only scored you 22 fantasy points like the second matchup, then he's absolutely destroying your lineups. For me, I'm going to take a guess, and I'm going to say he's going to kind of be somewhere in the middle of this. He's going to get us 35 to maybe 45 fantasy points. Definitely think that he is in play on this slate, but that's really it for me. I'm just looking at those 3 guys, and I'm not looking at anybody else on San Antonio.
Let's go talk about the team I love so much.
All right, bro. We're going to switch it, bro. I'm going to let you take them for this one, all right? So, we got Memphis Grizzlies going into Sacramento to face the Kings. This game has a 2.5 over-under. The Sacramento is favored by 1.5 in this one. So, yeah, get us started with the Sacramento side of things.
Bro, I've been on them all year. I just think this team and I like to watch them. They're fun. De'Aaron Fox at 8.3. Do not hesitate to plug this guy in your lineup. This guy is playing out of his mind right now. We'll pop open his player card and just look at his recent performance. 53.6. We all know what happened in this Minnesota game. It was the second half of a back-to-back. They got their doors blown, and this guy played about 6 minutes, I think. So just throw that game out. Other than that, you can see 45.1 against Dallas, 45.7 against Golden State. The guy is averaging over his – just take a look at this. The guy's almost averaging a double-double a night with points and assists. He's just playing really, really well. Take a look at what he's done recently against Memphis. You know, they've played twice this year and this season, and he's got 43.6 and 40.8. So his floor tonight you could look at is a 5x figure with all the upside in the world to get you 50, 55, 60 fantasy points like he did against Oklahoma City in their previous game. I love De'Aaron Fox tonight. Do not have any problem playing him against Memphis at all. The guy's super aggressive. Buddy Hield, 6.9. His price is starting to get up there a little bit. I think he's still in play at 6.9. Buddy Hield's all about shots. This guy, you know, the Kings announcers were saying it the other night against Oklahoma City that they think that Buddy Hield's on the verge of throwing up a 50-burger because he's just been so hot. Does that come tonight? Did he shoot his water rate against Oklahoma City? I'm not sure. But Buddy Hield, you can see here, you know, a couple of run-of-the-mill performances. Here again, this Minnesota game, throw it out. He played the most minutes and got the most shots, but I think this was in 15 minutes is what he played and took like 12 shots. Buddy Hield shooting the ball a lot. De'Aaron Fox is looking for him. You watch them play. They set a screen up for him, a double screen down the baseline to get him open on the wing for a 3. That's like how their offensive set starts. Fox brings the ball up. Hield sprints up the floor. He goes to the left side. He goes right into the basket around 2 picks, and then they try to look for him to get an open 3 right off the bat on the start of the possession. So they're looking for each other, they're playing off each other. You can definitely stack them together. I'm gonna stay away from Bjelica. The guy's too up and down for me. If he has a monster game, I'm gonna miss it. Until there's more consistency there, I'm gonna stay away from Bjelica at 6,000. If he was a $4,500 play, I may look at him tonight as well. But I'm staying away. This team revolves around 2 guys, and if you want to throw in a third, you could throw Willie Cauley-Stein in there, but do not do it against a Marc Gasol. It's just not the spot. One guy I will note that's getting a little bit of run, and he's been a guy in the past for them, is Skal Labissiere. The guy's starting to get a little bit of run with them. He kind of fits athletically with De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield. So if you want to take a dart on a guy at a power forward spot on a 10-game slate in tournaments as a drop spot, Labissiere is a guy you can do that with as well. This is a fun team. I think you can load up the Kings tonight. Don't care they're playing Memphis. Fox's usage is through the roof, and Buddy Hield taking a lot of shots.
Yeah, man. So just quickly to mention how you're talking about how hot Buddy Hield has been. Buddy Hield has been so hot lately. People are starting to say the Sacramento Kings actually won the trade when they traded Boogie Cousins for Hield and the other dudes. But Hield has just been so hot, and they're saying he's going to turn into an all-star. And they're trying to say that Sacramento actually won that trade now. You hear about that?
Well, I'll be honest with you. When they made the trade, I thought it was an outstanding trade. I thought it was a great trade for both teams. I thought Buddy Hield was going to be a perennial all-star. He just struggled. He was
Right.
young, and Buddy Hield's problem with New Orleans when he came up was he turned the ball over a lot, and he kind of would get confused in their offense. This is a really, if you watch the Kings, this is a really simple situation for Buddy Hield to be in. I'm not saying he's an idiot or a dumb player, but look, the guy, he plays his ass off defensively for one, and then two, the dude sprints down the court, and they run a simple double baseline screen for him right off the bat to try and get him open on the wing to knock a three down. Like, the dude's bought in. They're trying to get him shots. Boogie is great. He's a great player, but the fit, Boogie wasn't going to be happy there, and I think they did win the trade. I'm not saying they got the better player, but they won the trade. They got a player who could be an all-star, and they traded a player who didn't want to be there.
Right, right. So on the Memphis side of things, I mean, you got Mike Conley's probably going to come back today, 8,400.
He is probable.
But yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. He's 8,400, but he's coming off an injury, and I don't know if that's going to limit him a little bit. I mean, just for him to hit value, we need about 42 for value. He could definitely get to 42 fantasy points. Don't get me wrong, but it's not something he's doing consistently. And then two matchups this season against the Kings already. He played 34 and 36 minutes. He got us 27 and 40, so he hasn't hit us that 40 plateau 42 plateau mark yet, which we need just for value. I think he's a little bit overpriced. He's a guy I don't really want to look at coming off injury. I mean, definitely you could throw him in a couple of GPPs because he has 50 fantasy point upside going against a young Kings team. Is going to be an up and down game. I just don't want to pay the price tag on Mike Conley, to be honest with you. And then I mean, you look at Marc Gasol. Obviously, he's pretty much the best player on this team. 8,400. He's their all-star outside of Mike Conley. On this price tag, it's the same as Mike Conley. We need 42 for value. 2 games this season against the Kings. Actually, 3 games. It's 2. Sorry. 2 games this season. He's played 34, 30 minutes. He got you double-doubles, but they were nothing special. 26 and 36 fantasy points. So, I mean, Mike Conley and Gasol, they haven't really killed this matchup this season. One guy that I'm kind of keeping an eye on, Jaren Jackson, 6,600. He's a guy I really don't want to pay 6,600, but if you got Jermichael Green is questionable today, dealing with the hamstring issue. If Jermichael Green is out, I definitely think this is a big boost for Jared Jackson, and he's going to get some extra minutes. And he's shown us earlier in the year he has upside. He absolutely crushed this matchup one time already this year. Actually, 2 really solid games. He played 30, 31 minutes. He got you 29 fantasy points and 45 fantasy points. If he's going to get me 45 fantasy points again on a 6.6 price tag, absolutely kill value. I definitely think he's worth considering in a couple of GPP lineups with Green if Green is out. But I mean, that's really it for me. Nobody else really on the Memphis side thing really excites me. They're a team. They're a good team, but they're a really good team because they play defense. They hold. They keep the games low scoring, and they kind of just win it. And they're not excited back and forth team up tempo pace that gets us a ton of fantasy points.
I'm gonna tell you 2 things right now. Number one, if Kyle Anderson and Jermichael Green both don't play today and Omri Caspi does, play the narrative a little bit in tournaments. Do not be afraid. We just saw Omri Caspi played, I believe, 2 seasons with the Warriors. Mike Conley was out, and I believe Kyle Anderson was out of that one as well. And they went to Omri Caspi, and the dude just went nuts. He went absolutely crazy. And so I could see if Anderson's out and Green is out, Omri Caspi, get a little bit of exposure to him in tournaments. He could be a guy, played in Sacramento for a while, could be a narrative spot where he goes absolutely nuts. Second thing I want to add to about Gasol, Steven Adams, we all know is a beast. Marc Gasol is a more skilled center than Steven Adams is. Steven Adams just had a 23 rebound game and 20-point game 2 days ago against the Sacramento team. Marvin Bagley is out already. The one thing Sacramento struggles with is rebounding the basketball. They really struggle with rebounding the basketball. And because Buddy Hield takes a lot of shots, there's a lot of long rebounds that are available. Marc Gasol, to me, at 8.4, I've got no problem paying 8.4 for a guy who's doubled against Sacramento consistently in the past. This could be a monster spot for him as well.
Yeah, man. Moving on. Next game we're going to go to is going to be the Utah Jazz going into Portland to face the Trailblazers. This game has a 214 over-under, and Portland's favored by 2.5 in this one.
I'm not really excited about this, man. I'm not really excited about having anything to do with Utah today. I'm just not. I'm not excited to have anything to do with them there. A grind down game. The one guy that I've been playing a lot lately, I've played him every single day for the past probably 2 weeks, is Jay Crowder. Jay Crowder's playing really well right now. He just had a monster game, 37 fantasy points, 36.2 against Golden State. I like this guy, man. The last 2 games, his minutes have been in the 30s. Before that, he was kind of a rotational player, getting you between 18 and 25. I love Jay Crowder. I'm going to keep playing Jay Crowder. But other than that, Donovan Mitchell, the shots are there. They're just not going down. The guy took 15 shots in the first half of the Golden State game, and he was like 2 or 3 for 15. The shot's not going down for him. You can continue to play him in tournaments as an upside play. He'll be low owned because he's not producing right now. The only reason he's not producing is because shots aren't going down. He's a shooter. Shooters are streaky. The shots will start to go down. His price will continue to drop if the shots don't go down. You're going to catch him. It's a buy low opportunity on Mitchell because the volume is there. The output is not. So Mitchell is definitely safe in this spot to play in tournaments. Other than that, I'm staying away from Gobert. I'm staying away from Favors. I don't like either one of these guys on a routine basis anyhow. So that's really it for me with Utah.
Yeah, man, on the Portland side things, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm just going to look at their 2 stars, Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. I feel both guys are a little bit underpriced. I was looking at it, I'm like, do I really want to play Damian Lillard against a good Utah defensive team? But, hey, using our new tool, he absolutely crushed already one time in this spot. He played 43 minutes. He got us 33, 10, 8, 1, 2 for 58 fantasy points. I definitely think – I'm not going to say he's going to get 58 fantasy points again, but on a 9.4 price tag, all we need is 46 for value. And I definitely think he can get us close to that. They're going to need him to score if they're going to win this game at home. He's a really solid play going against Rubio. And then you got McCollum, 6,300. I don't think I've ever seen this guy this cheap before. And, it has to do with the Utah matchup, has to do with, he's kind of been up and down lately. But I think he gives us a solid enough floor that we can play him at a 6.3 price tag. He played big minutes last game against Utah as well, had a double-double, 16 points, 10 rebounds. 2 assists for 25 fantasy points. But I'm not looking at, like a Nurkic going against Gobert. I'm not really looking at any of the secondary guys too much for Portland. For me, like I said, I'm just sticking really to Lillard and McCollum and GPPs. And that's it for me on the Portland side of things, bro.
Right on.
Now we get to the main event. And so we got the New Orleans Pelicans going into Los Angeles to face the Lakers. This game has the highest implied total on the slate of 233.5, and the Lakers are favored by 5.5 in this one.
Yeah, so news update just came out. Julius Randle is expected to play tonight, and Anthony Davis remains a game time decision with an illness. I can't stand this game time decision crap with the NBA, man. It just frustrates me. Look, we all know what's going on. They're talking about Anthony Davis. LeBron said he wants him to come to LA. Anthony Davis said, I'm not worried about that. Anthony Davis got a new agent. Lionel Holland says, we're not trading the guy, blah, blah, blah. The game's in LA. If you'd have to be a moron to not want to get up and play in this spot, you'd really have to just be a chump, to be honest with you. A team wants you. It's in the media. You're in their city, and you're saying, I'm not going anywhere. I'm playing for the Pelicans, blah, 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 blah. This is a perfect opportunity to get up and try to destroy the Lakers in front of a crowd that wants you to come there. So if he plays, you got to love Anthony Davis and LeBron James as well, both these guys. Julius Randle, revenge narrative. The guys played at a very high level this season. Mirotic is already out. They don't expect him to play tonight at all. You could take a look at Etuan Moore, but to me, keep it simple. Play Julius Randle, play Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is in a smash spot. 9.4 is expensive. I get it. But the dude's in a smash spot right here. He really is. The Lakers give it up to shooting guards. We know Drew Holiday is a combo guard. He plays point and he plays the off guard. Drew Holiday, this is a smash spot for him. He's my favorite play on this side of things just because of what's going on with Anthony Davis. I think Anthony Davis, you could get him at reduced ownership tonight. The closer we get to lock and not know if the guy's going to play or not, I think in the end, ultimately, Anthony Davis knows what's going on. He'll play in this game. He's only got an illness. It's not like it's – hey, did you see what happened, though? Was it weird to you what happened in the Milwaukee game? The dude went down with a sprained ankle. Like, he stepped on somebody's foot, and then it looked like he got shot, right? I mean, he was in so much agony. He stepped on somebody's foot. He goes to the locker room, and he doesn't come back for the rest of the first half. And the news is that it's not about his ankle. It's that the dude's sick, that he has an illness, and he might not return. Is that not weird? Was that not strange?
Bro, it doesn't surprise me because this is the glass man, bro. That's what we're talking about.
Just weird. The whole situation was weird.
He was trying to find an excuse to get out the game, bro.
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
Wow.
This is a spot to me, in all honesty, if I'm Anthony Davis and I'm in this spot, I want to absolutely do – I'm playing no matter what. Like, I'm looking at the Jordan flu game and I'm being like, look, I don't care how sick I am. This team wants me to come here. LeBron wants me to play with them. This city wants me to play here. I'm going to go out and I'm going to show out. But it's Anthony Davis, and he could just be like, no, I don't feel good.
Yeah, so, I mean, on the Lakers side of things, bro, it's a little bit murky for me. There's two guys that I absolutely love for sure. I'll get to those guys. It's going to be LeBron James, 11.2, fair price tag. It's going to be an up-tempo game going against the Pelicans. And the Lakers are struggling a little bit right now. And I think this is a spot where King James could put the Lakers on his back and have another monster game like he did against Brooklyn. And then like you're saying, the whole narrative with Anthony Davis, I think that the Lakers want to absolutely try to beat the shit out of the Pelicans, show Anthony Davis that they are a much better team, and make him want to come. So I like LeBron in this spot. I really like Kuzma. That they've committed to Kuzma. This guy's playing a ton of minutes. He's getting a ton of shots. Kuzma has some upside. 7,200. We need 36 for value. He has 50 fantasy point upside. So I like Kuzma. I like LeBron a lot. They're my two favorite plays. But then this is where it gets a little bit more murky. The point guard spot, Lonzo's been playing well, but Rondo, he may come back tonight. He's very, very close to coming back. He's already been practicing with the team. He could jump into some of Lonzo's minutes. That kind of scares me a little bit. If Rondo comes back, then that's going to cut into Josh Hart and Caldwell Pope minutes because they've been playing a little bit of not necessarily the point guard. LeBron kind of goes to the point guard, but they're the other guards and they've been getting extra run. So it kind of cuts into their minutes as well. And then you got Brandon Ingram. He may come back. He'll get some shooting guard minutes also. Can also cut into the guard minutes. He's a game-time decision. Been practicing. He's very close to coming back. And then at the center spot, you got, McGee and Tyson Chandler kind of splitting minutes. If JaVale McGee is ruled out again, he's still battling the illness. If he's ruled out again, Tyson Chandler at 4.2, I would absolutely love the guy. I would put him in my cash lines and I would just move on. That's what we did last game, and he didn't get the minutes that we really wanted him to get. But I mean, he's played 17 minutes and got us 18 fantasy points on almost a bare minimum price tag. If he's going to get me close to 20 minutes, I would really feel comfortable with him. It's just all about minutes, and it's really if JaVale McGee is out or not. But that's really it for me, man. It's kind of a murky situation. We got to kind of wait closer to lock and see if we get any other news. But the for sure guys that are in great spots are going to be LeBron James and Kyle Kuzma.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, and Rondo and Ingram both played. They've been on the floor as well. Like, it's not like they're just at practice. They went and played with the D-League team, the South Bay Lakers. So they've both been on the court playing in games. I think both of them should return tonight. Let me ask you a quick question, bro. If you're LeBron, right, are you going to these dudes and saying, hey, we got a chance to get Anthony Davis we need to just blow these dudes out and show them that this is where it's at? Or are you just saying, it's just another game?
No, I'm blowing them out and saying, look, bro, look, we have the upside. You see this. We just beat the shit out of your team. We're clearly much better. Come through. Let's get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you.
So, hey, I think that's about all we got. We wrapped it up. 10 games in a nutshell. I'll be back shortly with my NBA core plays for the day. Jeremy will be back with his NBA GPP core plays over there on the DFS Cheat Sheet YouTube channel as well. Make sure to check out both of those videos. Turn the notifications on. Make sure that you're subscribed to both channels. Thank you guys for checking out this video. Good luck on your contest tonight. And, hey, that's it, man. Peace out.